Welcome everyone to the Historic and Architectural Review Board of Radnor Township, PA, for Wednesday, July 3rd, 2019. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on our agenda is new business. Hard case 2019-09-224 Lansdowne Avenue. Install new asphalt shingle roof. Install new front steps and covered porch floor. Install new aluminum wood windows with simulated divided light to match existing light configuration. Install new composite trim. Existing damaged stucco to be replaced with composition clapboard siding. Addition offside and back of existing house to match. Before we get into that, I'd like to just establish two basic ground rules that we use here as a board at our meetings. One, we are only interested in the public view from the street level. And number two, we are not interested in any interior views of the house. And before we begin too, I'd just like to give a little bit of background on the house that I've researched. According to Radnor Township records, this house is a contributing property of the South Wayne Historic District. No further information. So there's no who the architect is, when it was built. According to the Radnor Historical Society's Historic Asset Database on its website, there's no further information on this house. According to Delaware County property records, the house was built in 1925. Yeah. Also, too, for 224 Lansdowne Avenue in Wayne on historic map, 1920 backlist of properties on the main line of the Pennsylvania Railroad from Overbrook to Paoli. At least in 1920, it looks like where this house is located was a
Very much looks 1920.
vacant residential ground. A lot of the other houses on that block were already there, but this looks like this was squeezed in at some point in time, so kind of like makes sense, it seems to me, with Delaware County property records with their date of 1925. And that's it from my end.
My name is Jeffrey Borges Martin. I'm an architect with JTA Associates, and we're located right here in Wayne. In fact, we're up in the Village Shopping Center where Valley Forge Flowers is. And this is the homeowner.
Hello.
So we'll both be presenting if need be. As Bob said, this house is on Lansdowne Avenue, built in 1925. And we're proposing to do an addition as well as renovations to the major facade. In the package of photographs, we included one which was kind of the general overall facade. But then we did some zoom pictures where we zoomed in. And I don't know if that printed well for you, but you can see that the stucco is in really bad condition. So they knew they were going to be doing some renovations to the house, some additions. So rather than do the repairs to the roof and repairs to the stucco, they just decided to hold off and let's just do everything in one fell swoop. So our proposal is to add on to, this would basically be the south side and the west side of the house. If you're looking at the site plan done by Chris Yawn, you can see the area that's pochade in gray. The footprint of the proposed addition does not exactly follow that pochade area. What the homeowner did is, before engaging us, he did a feasibility with Chris Yawn to find out, can I do an addition? Do I have enough impervious coverage? How are my setbacks? So he went through the whole process with Chris before having us do an addition, a design for an addition, and falling in love with it, and then finding out he can't do it. So Chris just blocked out an area for the addition. So when you're looking at that, you see Lansdowne Avenue comes going up the right side of the page. Our addition is not coming out to the front face of the house the way this pochade area shows. Our addition sits back farther than that to articulate the front of the house. So I just wanted to point out that I didn't want you to think we were coming all the way out with that. So when you look at the elevation.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, I thought that gets confusing since we don't have a roof plan there. So when you look at H1, when you look at the addition, you look at the before and the after, you can see that this area is the existing house. This addition sits back 6 feet.
Just 6 feet.
Yes. So it helps to articulate the front of the house. That addition, in fact, is aligning, the plane of that addition aligns with the plane of this second floor addition. This second floor and the first floor are not in the same plane. The front door is pushed back farther. So this plane and this plane do align.
Okay.
So much more symmetrical.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, although you only look at the street view, we included the other views because we thought it helps to understand. And if you look at the H3, excuse me, the H, I have that side elevation here somewhere so you can see where it's pushed back. H4. If you look at the H4, you will be able to see that this portion of the house is the existing portion, this is the addition, so that's how far we're pushed back. I just thought that was important for you to know, to visualize those elevations, since elevations are rather flat.
You know what has worked really well in one presentation, dealing with elevations, etc. Computer model,
Yes.
3D.
Yeah.
That was really, really neat.
And we've done some, we've come in with artistic perspective renderings
Yeah.
to help really understand the whole volume of it.
Yeah, this very much helps your presentation on that.
Yeah.
That does make a difference.
Yeah, definitely.
That's only 6 feet? Seems bigger than that. But I believe you.
Well, part of what's deceiving is when you look at the front elevation, there's a little box bay in the living room that bumps out.
Okay.
So the front has some articulation. We're proposing to really keep the flavor of the house. If you look down where the stone foundation meets the siding, there's a metal skirt. We're proposing to replace that in kind and to put that on the addition. Where we don't have it, if you look at the little gable on the left side of the existing portion, it's got 3 windows under that little gable. We believe years ago that was a little covered porch. And you can see the porch floor articulated there. That does not have the metal skirt on it, so we're not going to put the metal skirt there since we don't believe it ever existed there, as that was a porch. So we're trying to make that read like, yes, it was a porch, but we enclosed it with glass.
And you're adding another window.
Yes, well, right now, when you look at the facade, those are replacement windows that we don't feel really enhance the house. So we've taken out those 2 windows with high window sills and put in 3 windows with much lower window sills to give kind of that glassed-in porch feeling.
More light, too.
More like, and that creates a nice little alcove off the dining room in the plan. We want to use materials that we think are sympathetic to the house. Excuse me, I've got seasonal allergies. Again, replacing any woodwork with a matching AZEK just for maintenance purposes. The siding, we want to use a composition siding, again, for long-term maintenance purposes.
There's a lot of composite siding on that street.
Yes,
A lot of it.
yeah. And there's composite siding on the garage on this very property. Excuse me. And if you go through our photographs, we have a picture of that garage. And you can see from the site plan that that garage, here's the picture, is visible from the street. So we feel using the same siding, same materials will help unify the property with, you know, like materials on the building.
Yeah, your next picture really does illustrate that.
Yeah,
There
yes,
you
it
go,
does.
composite
Yes.
siding.
Now, this shows you what you can see from the street. The next one shows what it really looks like.
Do you know what year the garage was added?
Well, you renovated the garage 3 years ago?
Yeah, 2014, 2015. Yeah, the garage was always there. We just,
There was no garage there in 1920.
oh, no,
There
well,
was like only one garage in that whole street.
Well,
No, when he purchased the
when we bought
property.
it, there was a garage
Oh,
there.
yeah, gotcha.
In 2014, we bought it. It was there. It was falling apart. It had stucco and all the other stuff, and so we went through the proper process and improved it.
And you went through the process here?
Oh,
with
yes,
the heart?
absolutely.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yes.
It looks very nice.
Yeah, it does.
So you're gonna use the same colors and everything?
Yeah, same color scheme, same materials. Really want to unify the property. Right now, there are issues where the front porch and that side porch, you see there's broken down lattice, and the porch is a painted porch. We want to put in a stone foundation, you know, tie the foundation across, fill that with gravel, put a masonry porch with flagstone on it, so we don't have critters living under there, creating a long-term maintenance issue. So, Akbar says this is his forever house. He wants to do it right and then be able to move back in and relax and not worry about maintaining this. Rather than, I want to just give you an overview, kind of our thoughts on this, and rather than drag it out, see if you have any questions for us or comments.
Well, it would be hard to top some of the paint colors chosen on the street. So I certainly can't see that you're going to be, I mean, you could probably paint it chartreuse with pink polka dots, given some of the color
Right.
choices. However, that's not what you're aiming to do, obviously. There is a range of ages on the street. You can see that the earliest Victorians are
Mhm.
1800s, late 1800s.
And I think that's what gives the street the charm, the variation, that it wasn't a builder that just came in and built all of them.
With the 1920s houses are very evident, and I was curious about the stucco. I've been very sorry. Normally I can get a chance to go by ahead of time, but in the picture it looks as though there might have been an addition, in other words, a front porch taken off at some point.
We don't.
When you see the stucco,
Right.
that's the way a house downtown looks when they've taken off, say, a Pent Eve, which were popular in the early 1700s.
And we don't know if there was
No.
ever a porch there or not.
Is the stucco, did you have stucco inspection when you bought it?
I believe we did as part of the overall inspection, and you know, we knew at the time when we were buying it that
Believe me, you'd know if it were a stucco inspection because they are costing homeowners more money. But the good news is that 1920s stucco
Right.
is infinitely superior
Oh, yeah.
to the stucco they're doing now. So, count your blessing.
yes.
But that would be my only thought. I'm not a fan, I'm going to have to tell you, of artificial siding or windows, and did a body block to keep my son from replacing his.
Well, this
in
stucco,
Vermont,
you can
but-
see, really does need to be repaired. There's a perception of stucco out there. When people are buying a house, buyers don't want to buy a stucco house now. In fact, you sold your old house and had trouble selling it because it was
It
stucco.
had the new stucco. We lost a fortune.
So
Well,
there's
that-
just this perception out
The
there.
newer, the builders are getting more grief, the homeowners
Yeah.
are getting more grief than you can imagine. because it's the
Yeah.
in thing, just as radon dominated a
Mhm.
decade.
And
lead
although
paint dominated
we've
a
learned,
decade,
and now there are
it's
methods
stucco.
to install stucco,
Mhm.
people still don't want it, just because of the perception.
Well, I
Well, that's
can-
interesting because, it always seemed to me that stucco in general, as far as the technology and the process, is ancient.
Yes.
And the big, huge downside is if you get a hole in there, you have to replace a big chunk of it.
Mhm.
But there are other houses on that street that also have stucco
There are.
from.
But again, the stucco of the 1920s was well done and should be
Yes.
pretty reliable. They did stucco in the 18th century. And they did it over what was called rubble stone, and many an owner has rued the day that he ever tried to chip off the stucco, only to discover not beautiful stones, but rubble stones.
Right, right.
So, it goes back, it was like the icing on the cake in the 18th century and early 19th and 19th century. So it goes back a long way, but 1920s probably had all in all the best built house, even including the Victorian period. The 1920s houses were the best built. So that's why I was wondering when I looked at it, it looked as though something had been taken off because it's straight across.
It is, and you'll notice too, it sort of goes up the side too. It goes across here, it's down in here, it's up in here. So it's in a good portion of that house. I think we circled some areas that you can see, areas where, we circled a lot of areas where you can see, yes, it is straight across here, comes down. So it's in a lot of areas on there.
Around the other sides of the house too, or just on the front?
Yes, it's all over. We're looking mainly at this, and this side is the worst.
No, I have no further comment. You have more, you have further comments?
I have
Okay, we'll let you talk.
Okay. Overall, I like the plan.
Thank you.
But I have one concern.
Mhm.
On H1, on your plan, with the new addition,
Yes.
the roof line. Seems to be higher than the original roof line on the original part of the house.
And at one
Am I
point, we
correct?
actually had it aligning with that. We raised it to get some usable space up under that roof on the third floor.
Okay. My concern and suggestion is this. When I look at an addition, what I like to see is that the original house has a prominence
Mhm.
over any addition. So my one concern about this plan is that roof line of the addition is higher than the roof line of the original house.
Wow.
I would suggest that roof line of the addition be brought in line with the roof line of the original house.
Do you remember when we had this
Mhm.
aligned? Are you okay if we can go back to that?
It would look much less like an addition.
Yeah.
You've
It would look
gone
much
to
more
so
symmetrical.
many
Yeah,
lengths.
so we have that
You've gone to
lot
such
line.
degree to make it look like it was always there. If it doesn't match, it really does look, it will always look like an addition.
So what we could
That's
do-
where we had that.
We would suggest that the roof line remain the same as the roof line of the original portion of the house, or lower.
Is the roof line the same today?
No, do you remember the very first school we showed you that line aligning on both sides?
Yeah.
And then we raised that to make the room bigger. So that would go back to being a little smaller, but this line would drop down to where we had it before.
Which room would go to the small?
The third floor bedroom.
The master?
No, the third floor.
Oh, I see. What do you mean small height? Less height?
It would have a little bit less in the thick ceiling, so it would come in a little bit. Not
So-
drastically,
Yeah.
not
How
drastically.
does it look today? When I just did the picture,
With,
the photograph of the front facing.
sorry to sidebar.
That's okay.
Take your time.
Normally, we're not right on top of each other like
Right.
this.
And I know we're not keeping other people that are presenting next waiting.
Oh, so we just come up with the same idea?
Yes, exactly, come to the same height. And we had that, and we thought it looked good, we just wanted to get that room.
The addition roof line here.
I see that.
You know, I didn't even notice.
We
that.
liked
Thank
it
you
like
very
that.
much.
This was made of research.
That was our first instinct.
That's why you
Maybe
paid
they
those
do, that's why they
big
paid
bucks.
the big bucks, that's right.
For the detail there. Sometimes that
This
little
is
thing
not
is
that
key.
same so far.
Can
They'll
make
still
you-
have that room.
Yeah,
It just
Before
becomes
my time.
slightly
On the
smaller.
third floor?
Yes,
Does it impact the master?
not at all,
Oh.
not at all. It doesn't
Curious
impact
if they
any of the second
No,
floor.
Now,
it's
the
like
AC
if they have
is
composite.
Just this one bedroom on the third floor, I think got just 18 inches small. So
No,
it must-
I agree.
I don't see
I
anything
agree.
back.
So it would be a concession.
I see. And you're saying that this will less
I
than
understand
the
why.
initial stage?
Sure.
Right.
That's what people want.
I've seen the rooms.
I mean, can we conditionally accept as well?
Yes.
Think about
Oh,
it.
yes.
Come up if my wife beats me violently.
Oh, yeah, we can accept it, and then if we have a change of heart, we can always schedule and come back.
Not that I expect, I just have a,
That is true.
I'd like to make
Yeah.
sure my wife is
Yeah.
comfortable with it as well. I'm sure if I said yes, and went back this evening, she may not feed me for the 4th of July, so.
We can grant you a continuance,
tonight.
and you can answer that question, and.
No,
you
I
don't
think
have to
we
pay
can-
additional fee.
No, I think, listen, I'm relying on the experts here I'm dealing with. You
Well,
have much more.
and she has understood.
wisdom and knowledge.
Akbar actually wanted the addition to come all the way out to the front. And I said, no, we need to push it back. And his wife right away said, I agree, we need to push it back. I think she understands
Sure.
quickly these things.
So when you're,
So the idea is to sell to her is that if you have the roof lines that match,
Match,
not
yeah.
one that's offset by
Yeah.
a noticeable degree, then it will look like it was always
Always
there.
there. I think that's very wise.
Yeah,
Got it.
Do you still have usable head height up there?
we do, yeah.
That's good.
The the way you have the clip ceiling, the
It's just
flat,
gonna
that
bring
just
it in.
became a little bit
It's gonna
smaller.
bring it in.
Yeah,
Because I don't think.
and that's bedroom
So
number.
we want to have living space.
Yeah, that's a guest bedroom.
not yet.
So,
Terry, would you like to?
it can be cozy.
Would you like to discuss?
Fine.
I don't.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for letting us sidebar, we'll
That makes sense.
agree.
You're gonna go with this?
Yeah, we'll go with
symmetrical?
lowering the ceiling so that the ridge of the addition aligns with the ridge of the existing house, but pointing out that it's the ridge parallel to the street, not the ridge perpendicular to the street.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Any
I have no
thoughts?
further comment. And I would like to make a motion to recommend a certificate of appropriateness conditional upon the roof line of the addition being lowered to match the roof line of the existing home.
Second.
Okay. Me as chair, we recommend a certificate of appropriateness with the condition with the roof line.
Roof line.
Sarah, as chair. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your help.
Appreciate you guys coming out tonight on the eve
Yes.
of the holiday, so thank you.
Pleasure. Please have a great holiday too.
Likewise,
You too.
everybody be safe.
Somebody's to pull part of the additions.
Alrighty, well, the rest of us still have some.
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah, we have it all now.
Any old business, public participation? There's gonna be a mouse in there. Okay, do I have a motion for
Motion to
adjournment?
adjourn.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I so moved.
Terry, do you second? Terry
Second.
We are adjourned. Happy holiday, everyone.
Happy
And thank you.
holidays.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Everyone be
Thank you,
safe.
Mary Ann. Thank you,
Thank you,
Andy.
Andy.
Thanks, Marianne. Thanks, Andy. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a great holiday.
You too.
Can I tell you to,
Is that-
Absolutely, thank you very much.